This chapter is going to cover inspirations and how we harness them. Everything inspires me. I just get inspired by everything around me. Of course, all the normal things like museums and galleries and artists and shops and magazines and films, and everything inspires me like that. I seem to have a brain that concentrates on embroidery and sees embroidery in everything that's around me. I also have a disgusting habit of going to car booths all the time, where I look for things to inspire my embroidery. Because I think that this is the most important thing for me about the craft. Because to make it individual and to make it personal, I think that one's approach to inspiration is all important. You have to be driven by what you're actually seeing and feeling. Embroidery is all about texture, it's all about materials, it's all about the qualities in something, and you can get that from your inspiration. If you allow the subject to be process-led, so that you're being led by the stitch and how you're going to do it, you know, whether it's patchwork, whether it's faggoting, whether it's anything, then it looks like everybody else's. If you go by your inspiration, your visual inspiration, then you take ownership of it. When you take something like these bows, for instance, these are buckles, you don't just go and get any black fabric out to make them, or any black thread. You really start to look, these are shiny, they're stiff. So maybe you're going to starch black fabric, maybe you're going to make it with PVC that you curl round, you fold round at the edge and bond together, so that you really get obsessive about the qualities. With this piece of glass, for instance, this is what I want to work on in my next collection. I'm going to be looking for to embroider with transparent thread on transparent fabric, and then maybe see if it's possible to silver foil it from behind, so that then I can sand bits away, and I'll paint the foil by hand so that it doesn't go to the edges. Being literal is what I'm all about. The common themes in my inspiration are really just embellishment, I suppose. I just look at anything that makes me think of embroidery. The thing that I love doing best is developing an idea, and making up embroidery, making up new ideas. And so to look at inspiration, it takes you out of the norm. You can break new ground because you're trying to fulfill a challenge. I will always come to things like it's the qualities of things, and I will always spend my time searching for just the fabric that will do that, just the how I can quilt this so that it will have just that look, because then nobody will have seen it before. We all have different ways of looking at things and different things that we love, and we also look at lots of different things. So when all those things feed in together, you're going to get a personal look that nobody else has. I don't think in any way that everything's been done already. I think that there is always new things to see, because of all this stuff that's feeding in all the time. The media and fashion and colours are changing all the time, and so we see things differently all the time. I've used things in different years and treated them totally different, the same bit of inspiration at different years, because the whole feeling for cloth is different, the feeling for scale is different, so it all changes. Working with clients and their inspiration is one of the most exciting things, because they suddenly throw a challenge down. They can say something like Frida Kahlo versus Singapore whorehouse, or they can say they just want something silver and funky, and you never know. But the challenge is thrown down, and you have to scuttle off then and find your own inspiration to actually fulfill their dreams. And it can take you, the lovely thing is, it takes you out of your comfort zone, so that you have to actually really think on your feet. Betty Jackson gave me an inspiration of water droplets coming down a window. I came back to my studio and started working with glass beads, and they just looked like glass beads. It was so boring. And so I started to work with glue guns and resin, and eventually found that I could put resin onto silk, drop it just like water droplets, and it would set and actually make the fabric go transparent. And so you're breaking bounds, you're breaking the boundaries all the time. Embroidery doesn't have to be something that you sit and stitch quietly. It can be something that you can get real excitement in. Sometimes you go and see a designer and you're not quite in tune with what they want. I don't like triangles for some reason. It's a real personal thing. I just don't like triangles. And one designer asked me to do a whole series of silver and black triangles, and I loathed it. But you have to rise to the challenge and actually do it, and do the best that you can. If somebody asks you to do teddy bears, you make it the best embroidered teddy bear you've ever seen. You just always push it and make yourself excited about it. Find the excitement in it. Find your special view on that. You have to work within their style often, with what the things that lead them and which are going to fall into their show, their themes and things like that. But the thing is to find enjoyment in accepting that challenge. I'm really lucky because I do see inspiration in everything I look at, but I only have to walk into a museum or a gallery or go into shops and it soon starts firing on all cylinders. I take photographs everywhere I go. I've got 33,000 photos on my computer, and anything and everything all adds together. And I just have to scroll through those and I start getting ideas. But I think the thing to remember is that it needs to be, your inspiration needs to be refreshed. You have to keep your eyes open, you have to keep adding to it all the time. And it's almost like feeding your imagination, your creativity. You have to keep feeding it to actually get the most out of it. I'm a car boot addict, so every week my husband and I go to car boots and I collect anything that attracts my attention. It's just a visual feast. I'm not looking for anything in particular. I just go and let my eyes wander over the stalls, and anything that attracts my attention, I'll pick it up. Sometimes I go and I don't find anything at all, but sometimes there's just little nuggets that are so beautiful. I collect them all and I put them all in these tie boxes. I've got dozens of them. I go for all the tacky plastic, even to the extent of I collect false teeth, because I want to do a project where I look at the Russian Tsar embroidery with all the pearls and set in stones and things, and I want to, one plan is to set the teeth around all the things instead of pearls. Over the years I've built up my ways of looking for inspiration, and it's something that I do all the time. I don't just wait until I get a certain project to look for inspiration on that particular thing. I look for it all the time, just collecting visual images. And I think everybody has to find their own way of working like this. They have to find their own things that their eye just lights on and they love, their own qualities, their own things that are going to lead them forward and inspire them to stitch.